It's time for a new segment that we're hopefully going to be doing every week with our 905 report. Get you guys caught up on everything in the G League. We're getting very close to the opening of the 905 season. So we obviously need Cody, our main man covering the 905 this year for Raptors Republic. The rest of us will be doing some work as well, but he is in charge. Cody, I want you to lead this segment. Talk to us about what's going on with the 905 right now.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, 905, 6 days away. The season is heating up, and I feel like there's a lot more intrigue with the squad this season. So, hey, we're us three are going to be here together covering it. I don't think you're going to get any better 905 coverage anywhere else other than us three at Raptors Republic. Uh, Overall, I just want to start with your guys' just thoughts on the roster. I know I've tweeted it out a couple times. They haven't made their full cuts quite yet. They should be done here in the next couple of days. But what do you guys think of like a potential starting lineup of DJ Carton, Kennedy Chandler, Jamison Battle, Kevin O'Banner, and a Brandon Carlson? Some guys we've seen before, and the one newbie in Chandler.
Yeah, go
I can
ahead,
take this
Kyle.
first. Or
Yeah.
yeah, so I was about to say I'm excited to see this whole lineup. Like when watching the preseason games, I didn't get to see too much out of DJ Carton, so I'm excited to see what he can bring to the team. And I feel like again, time with the 905 does good for all the rookies and does good for everybody. But who I'm really excited to see is Jamison Battle. I was covering the Philly game and he had more fouls than points for a second, so he was scaring me. But then in the second half, he took over and he had 9 points in 2 minutes, showing off his shot from beyond the arc. So someone like him with his shooting ability, I want to see what he can do in the 905 if he earns a spot and gets called back up to the main roster for a more type of permanent position. But he's going to be who I'm having my eye on the most because he just impressed me in that one game.
Yeah, for me, I'm hoping for consistency from the guard position for this 905 roster. I know the actual wins and losses of the 905 mean less than the development of the team, and I understand that. That's kind of the main point of a development team and that roster. But last season, especially with the injuries to Raptors, there was no consistency for the 905 from those guard spots. Marquise Noel was hurt for a lot of the season. Javon Freeman Liberty was going up and down. You had Amari Moore, who kind of flourished in the second half of the season, but he's not there anymore. Kobe Simmons isn't there, and even he jumped up to the Raptors for a game or two. So I would love to see some actual consistency from their table setters. I think that's super important for a G League team to kind of have guys to set things up. And I know you mentioned it, and Kenny Chandler as a new guy. Cody, hopefully he can bring some excitement to this Raptors team. And DJ Carden being there. I think we saw even at the
Hey,
Villa,
yeah.
like he was pretty good. So I would love to see, and in the G League, he was actually very good last season.
Mhm.
DJ Carden was. So I'm hoping that consistency can kind of lead itself to 905 going back to its glory days a little bit, when the 905 started in the G League, they were a very, very good team. They won a championship. So they don't necessarily need to do that, but I want to see that consistency from the guard spot to kind of help the development of this team because it's really hard to kind of develop and get good when you're not getting good guard play and setting your guys and your bigs up, especially you have some young new bigs. O'Banner's back, which is nice, but Jamison Battle is going to need somebody to set him up. Ulrich Shamshay, you really want to see what he can do. It's going to be a lot easier if you have guards who are putting him in good positions. So I think that's going to be super important. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think Carton in particular is primed to be the go-to guy for this iteration of the 905. I mean, he seems to be the likely candidate. I mean, Javon Freeman Liberty last year took 18 shots a game. So somebody's going to need to take those, and I think Carton's going to be that guy. He's entering his fourth year of play in the G after, and he's improved year after year. Last season, 18 and a half points, 5.5 assists, 3.5 rebounds, and he shot nearly 40% from three on 4.5 attempts per game. Uh, I want to see him jack those 3-point numbers up, like instead of 4.5 per game, let's get it close to maybe five, six, seven with a more prominent role. And I think that'll just help everybody play off him. If he's able to attack as well, kickouts to Jamison Battle for three all day. He can run the two-man game. I'm interested to see the two-man game with him and Brandon Carlson, who I'm a fan of, and that they were able to get down there with the 905. I know Kyle likes Carlson as well, so I'm glad that they're able to get him. O'Banner was solid for the 905 last season. I think the squad's all right. And
Mhm.
Kyle, this is we're talking about all these guys, and we're not even talking about the draft picks yet. And we'll see how much Jacoby Walter gets down, Jonathan
Mhm.
Mobo, and we've all heard that Jamal Shed might not be getting quite as much run with the 905 as we think. He might be. I mean, you could just look at the play. He's been impacting the Raptors with the big club, and Mobo as well, for that matter. Who knows how much time he's going to get now? I would still think they would get some run, but I'm interested to hear what you guys think.
Like if Shed doesn't get any time with the 905, I won't be too upset. But I think right now the team kind of needs him, obviously because of the injuries and such. But it's never a bad thing for him to be playing with the 905 and getting reps. Like reps are never a bad thing for him to go down there. So at the current moment in time with how the team is, I don't see him going to the 905 because they kind of need his guard play, his defense, things like that. But if the guys come back quickly, comes back, we have the full squad back. I could see him going down there and getting a couple games in. I honestly want to see him go down there and get a couple games in because he'll get more minutes and he can develop a little bit better than the minutes he'd be getting on the main roster. So overall, I think he should. It just depends on the situation.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think if you asked
How about
before
Mobo,
the
Zolfi?
season, Mobo, yeah, like I think he needs some 905 time. I think just kind of being put into better positions and again dealing with the speed of the game is important for him. His decision making is pretty sharp, but sometimes he does get out of situation. Again, even yesterday, he Darko kept him in that game against the Kings with three fouls, and then DeRozan kind of did what DeRozan does, got him a fourth, and then Mobo was pretty ineffective after that. So it's one of those things where he just needs to kind of keep up with the speed of the game, and reps are going to be the most important thing for that. I think we see the potential, like we've all been using the word flashes. I think those are super important, but especially offensively to kind of refine his game, I think the 905 can be super important. But I think for both these guys, given the trajectory of the main roster and obviously injuries right now, it's going to be probably a lot of double duty. It's not going to be where they're just with the 905. I think again before the season started, people might have thought that they're going to be just having extended 905 stints, but with the way this roster is going, I think it's going to be a lot of them going back and forth when there's home games for the Raptors and the 905 at the same time, double duty, and that's not a bad thing. That's basically what the when the 905 was good, that's what they were doing with Fred VanVleet and Chris Boucher and those guys and OG Anunoby. They were sending them up and down, even like a Norman Powell. And especially come 905 playoff time, those guys are really putting in a shift in the G League. So I think that's probably the trajectory this 905 team and Jamal Shed and Jonathan Mobo are on right now.
Yeah, like, see, I like the 905's team without the rookies of
Mhm.
Walter, Mobo, and Shed in the lineup. And then when if one, two, or even all three of them are down with the 905 at some points, it's a pretty good team. And somebody else I wanted to touch on real quick was Charlie Brown Jr. He's the guy they brought in late into camp after Jared Rhoden, who they wanted with the squad was cleaned by the Hornets, and Jamias Ramsey, who opted to return to OKC, forfeit the bonus he was going to get with Toronto, and go back to play for the OKC Blue. Yeah, he's 6'6", 16 and a half points, 5.5 boards, and he shot 35% from three on nearly 7 attempts per game last season with the Westchester Knicks. So I think he's somebody who can make an impact and maybe could scale up when the Raptors rookies aren't in the lineup. Of course, we all want to see Ulrich Shamshay. There's a lot going on with this team to say the least, and I'm excited. I'm excited. We get going here in 5 or 6 days, so it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, like you said, Cody, a lot of fun names to keep your eyes on. The 905 probably matter right now more than they have in a couple seasons, to be quite honest. So keep tuned here on Raptors Republic. Like Cody mentioned, our coverage is going to be better than just about anywhere else for the 905. We'll have all the information and keeping you up to date. And again, a weekly 905 report on Run It Back.